All right, Peter. So as I talked about in the written portion of your program, I've broken this up into different segments, but I'm going to put all the exercises in this one video with the exception of the stretches. So that way you can just come to one video to reference everything. And the easiest way to do it, at least in the beginning, maybe to start the video and see the exercise, pause, do them, restart the video, and then just go one exercise at a time. Maybe easier than trying to remember them all. So your warm up every time, and in fact I'd like you to do this every day, or at least 6 days a week, needs a PVC pipe or a long staff or Linda's Swiffer action. You're going to use that quite a bit. You'll use it a little bit in the stretching as well, but definitely in the warm up. So the first exercise are PVC sky openers. All a sky opener is I want you to take your hands nice and wide and just reach all the way up and open as if you are trying to open your entire chest to the ceiling. What I don't want is a big old arch in the back. I don't want to compress the spine in the back in order to open the shoulders. So your range may look much different. This may be it, and that's okay. But take your arms nice and wide, big open, trying to get them back. You're gonna kind of pause for a second or two, open and down, open and down. Keep those abs nice and tight. It'll help make sure you don't end up pushing the hips forward into an arch. 15 of those. Exercise number 2, PVC horizontal rotations. It just means we're rotating in that horizontal plane side to side. I want you to allow the back foot to come up, the back heel to come up and pivot. What we're looking for is just a nice rotation of the entire spine. So from that low back connection all the way up through, we're just rotating nice and easy as far as you can. Remember, warm-up should be gentle. It should feel good. It should get better as you go. So if your first rotator gets to about here, by the time you've done 10 to each side, you should be able to rotate a little bit farther and feel a little bit looser through the middle of the body. Number 3, diagonal rotations and swings. So now we're going to take it, the PVC from the horizontal plane into our diagonal. So the side that is down is the leg we're going to come down to a little bit, and the side that is up is the one we're stretching away from. So it's down and across, up and across, down and across, up and across. This should feel good. Again, you should feel a little bit more stretch on the long side with the arm that's up, and a little bit more stretch through the low back region on the side that's down. So 10 to one side and then we switch. I flip it and I go down to the low side, up and away to the high side. Nice and easy. No jerking movements, nice and smooth. The last one is going to be an over and back. So this is exactly how it sounds. We're going to try to make that full circle around and back. So this one, depending upon your shoulder flexibility, you may need something longer than a PVC pipe. When I first started doing these, I had a broomstick. The Swiffer would work pretty good here. It's pretty light. You may have your hands way out wide. That's okay. And your grip can be super loose. I'd show it better if I had a broom around me, but I don't. So I'm barely holding on to it. So the goal is to get those arms all the way open, but stay symmetrical. What happens when we don't have enough space to get through, or the shoulders are super tight, is that we end up lifting one to lower the other and then get the other shoulder down. I really don't want to see that, even if that means that you can't get all the way, and this is as far as you get. I want them to be the same, so don't lift one in order to drop one down. If you get stuck here and can't get all the way around, that's okay. So do 10 like that, then take it behind and do 10 lifts as high as you can behind. Perfectly fine. It doesn't have to make the whole circle to start, but I pretty much guarantee you that if you do these for a couple days, they're going to get significantly easier to get all the way there and back. Okay, that's going to be your warm-up sequence for the upper body. From there, we're going to jump straight into a strength sequence for the upper body, upper half here. So we have 3 sets or 3 rounds of 10 repetitions. Exercise number 1, I want to be nice and heavy. And that's just gonna be our row, or our narrow row. So I would go with anything 15 and greater. Peter, you're pretty strong. If you've got 20, 25, you know, go up. I definitely want it to feel heavy and feel challenging. So I'm gonna split stance, left foot is in front. I'm kneeling or leaning all the way down onto that left leg. It's my support. Right leg is out to the side. I got a little space between them so they are not lined up in a tightrope, more like a railroad track system. That weight's gonna start out with that front foot. The first thing you're gonna do from this position is check and make sure that your back is nice and straight and strong. Trying to avoid the slumped over position. So you're gonna wanna squeeze that back glute and the front glute, so glutes are nice and tight. That's gonna keep the work from getting into your low back. Shoulder blades pulled back together. And we're gonna pull the shoulder blade nice and tight first, then that elbow is gonna come up like you're trying to wrap it around your side. So facing you, it's not elbow out, it's gonna be elbow wrapped around. And then go to that full extension, shoulder blade tight, elbow wrapped around. Strong and controlled on these. Remember, strength always means we're gonna have a lower number of repetitions and a heavier amount of weight. This is where we're really trying to grow our muscle, is a good way to think about it. So you need heavy weight, good control, no swinging. Don't think about it like we are starting a super old lawnmower. 10 on the right side, 10 on the left side. Then we're gonna switch it into a rear delt row. So now instead of our row action coming from those big lats, we're gonna take that row action back behind the shoulder blades and the back of our shoulders. So for this one, because low back is an issue, we're gonna go ahead and take another split stance, meaning 1 foot in front, 1 foot behind. This is mostly because when we take a even stance, you have to really focus on engaging the glutes or that low back ends up taking over in this bent position. So I want 1 foot in front, 1 foot behind, makes it easier to use those glutes. From the side view, shoulder blades stay squeezed together the whole time. Elbows are gonna go wide and back down to the middle. So elbows wide, back to the middle. Again, we are focusing between the shoulder blades and the back of the shoulders. It will feel significantly different than that row did, and I'm sure you've done these before. So facing you, remember, don't worry about where the hands go, just the elbows. So big squeeze, release the elbows, squeeze, release. So looking for 10 repetitions again on that one. The next one, you may need a little bit lighter of a weight. Start pretty light on this next one, just until you get the feel. This one, we're gonna go down on the ground. We're combining a little bit of an oblique plank with a good strong shoulder move. So, down in our oblique plank position, we've got one hand to forearm on the ground. You can either put 1 foot in front of the other one. Let me turn side face to show you that. You can either put your top foot in front, or you can stack your feet. Totally up to you. The plank is less important on this one than the shoulder action, so do whatever works for you on the plank. So I have one dumbbell. Mine's a little heavier. I've got an 8. I wouldn't recommend using this. I don't usually use this on this exercise, but it's what I have right now. So something light, 3, 5. You're gonna get up in that plank position, and your elbow is gonna sit right on your side so that your hand kind of drops in front. From here, you're gonna keep your upper arm right where it is. And the only thing moving is that hand. It's rotating up and back to center. What you're gonna have to watch for, a couple different things. Number one is that your elbow doesn't try to lift off of your side as you go. That's your body trying to make it easier. Also your wrist. If that weight's a little heavy, you'll notice that your wrist will try to cock back to move that weight rather than your arm rotating that weight. Now, depending on the strength of your shoulders, your range may not go very far. You may end up getting up a couple inches and getting stuck right there. A couple inches and stuck. It's an element of strength. It's also an element of your range of motion or flexibility. So if you're pretty tight through that position and your arm does not want to release to rotate, you may not get very far. That's okay. I'd much rather you work in whatever range is, whatever range works for where you are right now, versus trying to move the rest of the body to get that arm all the way up. Linda can help you on this one just by seeing if anything else is moving or if it's just the arm. So have her watch you on that one. Okay, so those are our 3 strength exercises. You're gonna hit 1 round on each and then go back to the top and repeat, and then back to the top 1 more time for 3 rounds. Then we're gonna switch towards some endurance. So on our endurance exercises, we're gonna work with a handled band. I know that you'll have a door attachment. So this door attachment is gonna come in handy. We're gonna start with a golf swing, which is what I'm calling this one. As close to a golf swing as you can get with a band. And I want you to tie your band so that all you have is 1 length. So you'll just put your door attachment into the bottom of the door and then loop 1 end through and strap it through so that 1 handle is on the floor and the other handle is in your hand. So, I don't really care how much this feels like a golf swing. What we're looking for is the diagonal motion of the body and the shoulders. So we're simulating the golf swing a little bit. So both hands are gonna go on the handle. A little bend in those knees. We're gonna start by allowing your low body to rotate towards it. Obviously in golf, this is not a motion that you take. You shift back versus actually turning towards it. But we want to think about rotating the torso. So we're going to turn the torso toward the attachment. If it goes limp, we're a little bit too close. So turn your body, make sure that you at least have a stretched out band. It doesn't have to have a lot of tension. Turn this way for you. From here, I'm going to do the complete opposite. And in slow motion, I'm going to pull the arms in that diagonal across the front of my body. I'm going to keep rotating, allowing my back foot to come up and away. And then it's just how far can I stretch my body away. And back forward. When you come back forward, notice what just happened. If you're not settled strong in your feet and using your core, that band is gonna dump your chest down. So really think about your rotation coming from the hips rotating and not from bowing. So I'm back to the beginning, up and across, and back down. Up and across, back down. We're going for 20 of these, so we're picking up our pace a little bit from those strength exercises and just getting movement through the center of the body as well as through the arms, legs, do that backwards, and then we're going to switch sides. So it's the same motion on the other side. I have a little bit of tension, I turn towards it, I got it stretched out at least. And I'm going to come up and across, big reach, and back down. Up and across, and back down. So 20 each side. Those should go pretty quick. I want you getting that motion going. Abdominals stay nice and tight. So then we're going to switch the band and the attachment. The attachment is going to go up at the top of your door, or at least somewhere that's as high as you can reach. It doesn't have to loop the top of the door. For time's sake, I'm just going to take mine on my arc right here. So you'll pretend that mine's up at the top. So now we just have the opposite motion. So where I was pulling from down to up, now I'm pulling up to down. So we'll pretend my band is already up here to start over my head. And then that motion is the same. We're going down and across, rotating and reaching back, and back up. Down and across, and back up. You got 20 on each side on that one as well. Then, we're going to take it to the middle attachment. And we're going to take both hands, or both handles in the hands. Now we don't have it stretched out just a single handle anymore. So this exercise is a T and wood chop. So this is a combination of all of those upper back muscles that we use daily for our posture, as well as our oblique and the entire waistband around. So our T, shoulders down, back nice and strong, arms are stretched in front, The T is just a big open of the chest. Shoulders stay down. Really key on this one that your shoulders stay down as you pull back. They're going to want to lift up, and your neck is going to want to jut forward. Two things we want to keep from happening. So tuck that neck, chin into the spine, pushing it back. Shoulders stay down. Big pull. Then our wood chop, we're going to step 1 foot back. Notice the other foot did not move. Step 1 foot back, and then the goal without moving your legs is to pull across the body as far as you can. Then we're going to come back to the middle. Big T. Then the other foot steps back. Low body freezes and pull through the middle hard as you can. T, step, pull. T, step, pull. All right? Focused and strong on that one. You're counting your T's. So while 20 is a high number, it's going to be 20 T's. So you'll end up 10 times going to the left and 10 times going to the right. The last exercise on there, I want you to get the lightest band that you have, which most likely is going to be a band without handles or one of your ones that you can put a handle on. Either way, I just want it to be nice and light. You're going to start facing away because we were just pulling. We want to kind of do the opposite for a second. This one is a circle. They're called front to back circles. So I'm going to face you just to show you what I'm doing. Arms are going to start out to the side. Without anything else in my body moving, I'm making about a 12-inch circle around my shoulder joint with my bands coming from behind me. So I got one band, one handle in each hand. Angle a little bit. A little bit of a stretch. So the band is pulling me back, but not so much that it's actually hurting through the shoulders. So from here, I'm making a little circle forward. Notice nothing else is moving. So I'm trying not to let my chest go backwards or forwards. Stabilizing everything else. We're going to take 10 forward and then 10 backward circles. Then we're going to turn around and do the same thing. This one is probably going to be a little bit more challenging because we are stronger in that forward facing position. So I'm going to scoot a lot farther forward. I don't have a lighter band at the moment, so this is what I got to work with. So I'm going to take that circle up and back. Nothing moving except those arms for 10, and then I'm going to go 10 the other way. So for me, and most likely for you, that one's going to be a lot more challenging than the forward facing motion. So 10 forward and back facing away, 10 forward and back circles facing your attachment. Just make sure to do the facing away first. Okay, so that's going to complete all of your upper body for the day. Then I want you to go right into your lower body exercises. While we're not extremely warm, we have been moving, so you have gotten good blood flow going everywhere. So now time to hit that low body. Pull my board out just a little bit. So on our low body, we're working mostly with endurance style exercises right now to get you started. Then we'll get up into some bigger strength stuff. But for now, we want to make sure that all ranges of motion are strong, especially when that focus comes up into that low back. So on the ground first, some of these may be very basic starting, which usually to me means very boring to start, and it makes it hard to do them. But I want you to really make a goal of 3 to 4 straight weeks on these before we go up in the intensity of the exercises. Mostly because we want to make sure that we are utilizing these muscle groups correctly from the beginning and putting the emphasis where it needs to go. So the first one on here is our pelvic tilt and hold. So this is a very basic, I'm going to lose my jacket. It's going to be easier to see if I don't have an extra large donut around me. Okay, so on this pelvic tilt, we're going to start arms down by your side and relaxed. Feet are together. Your goal is literally just to tilt your pelvis under. So if you think about just laying straight, what you're doing is taking your pelvis, the whole pelvis region, and you're tucking it under as if you're trying to bring the front of your pelvis up on top, forward and into the floor. So we're just tilting it, curling it under, pressing down and holding for 3, 2, 1, and release, and let that low back arch come back a little bit. As you tuck and roll it under, you're rolling that low back into the floor, pulling that navel in. 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. This is one of those that's nice and boring. Put on some music, make Linda work out next to you so you got some entertainment, you know. But 15 reps here is what we're looking for. Then we're going to turn it into what we call a reverse curl. Most of the time we think of a curl, we're pulling the upper body up. We're doing the opposite. We're making the low body come in. So the hardest thing about this exercise is making sure that your abdominals are what pull your legs in and not your leg muscles themselves. So arms are by your side, feet are together, knees together. You're going to start by tilting that pelvis. So that same pelvic tilt you're going to repeat. When you've got it tilted all the way in, you're going to really tighten those abdominal muscles and lift the feet and knees up. Keep them tight as you release all the way. And then we start with that pelvic tilt again. Tilt it in, engage the abs, pull from the abs, release, all the way released. These will wear you out more than you think they will. After a couple of them, the abs are going to get tired, and toward the end of 15 reps, you're going to feel that your legs want to take over. Don't let them take over. This is the beginning of the basic low abdominal strength that we want to help keep the back in nice form. So again, one more time, tilt the pelvis first. Keep those abs tight. Pull from the abs to get the legs up. Lower with control and release. Alrighty, moving on from there, we go into what we call torso lifts. The reason I don't call it a crunch is because I don't want you to think about just crunching the middle of your body. I want you to think about trying to lift your entire torso to the ceiling. So I'm not trying to bring my face to my knees. I'm trying to bring my torso up to the ceiling. So at no point am I pulling anything forward. So head is resting in the hands. I want you to find a spot on the ceiling. Tuck your pelvis in. Abdominals pull super tight and lift up like you're trying to make your chin go up toward the ceiling. You don't have to hold the top. I just want you to pause and release. Pause and release. You should be able to feel a big difference between if you are lifting up or if you are pulling forward. So remember, we don't want to feel any kind of forward motion. You don't want to be able to see your legs. You want to find that spot on the ceiling and think about lifting your entire rib cage up to that spot. 15 repetitions. And then while we are here, we're going to grab one of your smaller, or lighter really, one of your lighter bands, the circle ones, and take it around anywhere between right below your knee and right above your knee. Anywhere that's just going to press against the knees. So once you get it on there, take your feet about hip width. You should immediately feel like that band is pulling your knees in. So you're going to have to do the opposite and press out. And the moment you start pressing out with your knees, you should feel the outside of your hips kick in a little bit. And they're going to get nice and tight. From here, we're going to take just a hip bridge. So again, pelvic tilt, squeeze the glutes, and lift. And then lower. You can keep the pelvic tilt the whole time and just focus on the glute, lift, and lower. It's one less thing you have to think about. But remember that it comes from the glutes the entire time. At no point do I want your hamstrings cramping. If your hamstring's cramping, then most likely your glutes are not engaged. So all the time, the entire round, keep that squeeze like you're trying to keep a penny between the cheeks and get it all the way up and down just slow enough to tap the ground. Alrighty, all glute. From there, we're gonna flip over. Prone arm raises and prone leg raises. So these are similar to Superman lifts if you've seen them, or pointer style exercises, but we're gonna start flat on the ground. Arms and legs fully extended out in front. So two things I want you to really focus on. Number one is that your heels are gonna stay together. Number two is that while your head is down, your arms are right by your ears. It's gonna really make it more challenging. So we're gonna start with our arm raises. So the goal here is to engage every muscle group in the core and only move one arm. So if I'm looking down, the first thing I do is check my heels, they're together. My glutes are squeezed, my abdominals are squeezed, which doesn't seem like something you would need to do, but that's gonna keep you from overusing your back. So abdominals are squeezed, glutes are squeezed. Nothing is gonna move except my left arm. So I'm gonna press up with that left arm and back down, and then right arm. Lift and down. You can go thumb up, or you can flatten your hands and lift the whole back of your hand. Either way, we're trying really hard not to rock side to side. So this one, you will probably have to go slow and steady, because if you start picking up your pace, what happens is your body starts rolling, and it tries to rotate. So instead of lifting my arm now, I'm lifting that whole torso, so my arm's not having to go anywhere. So I'm not getting that work through the shoulder. So slow and steady, just that arm. So when you get to leg raises, it's the opposite. Slow and steady, we're trying to lift just one leg and back down, other leg and back down. You will notice when you get to lifting your legs that it very quickly can become a low back exercise. Now we are using our low back muscles. They are involved in this, but we don't want them taking over completely. We want to make our glutes and our abdominals start supporting them a little bit more. So if you start feeling that low back, the first thing you want to do is kind of roll it around and wiggle a little bit and get it to loosen up. Then you want to make sure that your glutes are super tight and your abdominals are super tight. You may notice that severely limits how high you can lift your leg, but you're lifting from the correct muscle groups now. So glutes tight, abs tight, lift, lower, lift, lower. Slow and steady and strong, 15 per side. And then you're gonna finish with some cat curls. Now in yoga, this would be a two-part exercise. It would be a cat and then a cow, but we're focusing on just the cat portion, mostly because it's a really phenomenal stretch through the entire spine, but especially that low back. So what I want you to do on all fours, you're gonna take a deep breath in. As you blow your air out, you're gonna press through your hands and knees and feet, trying to get the middle of your spine as high to the ceiling as you can. So again, from flat, take a deep breath in. As you blow your air out, we're gonna press into the floor. Tuck your chin in, round your back as hard as you can, tilt your pelvis, and release. And as you release, you'll take a deep breath in, and then we repeat. For a total of 15 reps. You're going for as big of a range as you can. This is one that I hope that you see improvement on weekly, that you feel like you can get even more rounded every time. We're just looking to get as much range through every body part as we can. Okay, so done with that. Stop this video. Go on to do whatever other kind of workout else that you want. If you're gonna go for a run or a bike ride, or you wanna do some more dumbbell exercises with upper body, totally fine. Make sure you come back and hit that stretch video. So we're gonna make sure that everything is getting stretched out correctly. All right, you are good to go, Peter. Let me know if you have any questions.